Okay, hey, how y'all doing? Welcome back from spring break. I hope everyone had a good one. Can everyone see my screen, or is it just showing up as my little photo with Starlin?
We got you, Nate.
Okay, sweet. Um, any updates? Karen, you have any updates before we jump into the Pain Pals video?
Always good. So we're entering April. So folks should start thinking about the end of the semester. You guys should think about, your transition plan for like how you're gonna um carry your documentation over until the fall. Some of you, have other plans for the fall. So it's important that the teams have transition plans for the documentation. If you are wanting to work over the summer, you need to start, contacting leadership about that, um, and so forth. I think that's about it. What about you, Nate?
No, I think that's about it. Also, I think you covered it. I think also we should be having the end of the semester symposium thing. I don't see that Holly's on, but I believe we'll be having that again like we did at the end of last semester. So I would definitely advise y'all to start thinking how y'all want to work on your final presentations. Uh, it obviously doesn't mean the final presentation of the project is over. It just means it's the final presentation of what you've accomplished this semester, if that makes sense. For the teams like for the Leonardo Cryptech teams, we might have to talk about how that looks a bit for y'all, because y'all are a little bit on a different format. So anyway, all right. I think that's about it. Does anybody else have any other announcements before we move on? Nope. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the Pain Pals update. Um, wait, hold on. Okay, yeah, Abigail, no problem. I will leave room for you to do that. I'm going to close these things out, so hopefully y'all could see my screen a little bit better and it won't be as blocky, because I know sometimes the black block is so up, I think whenever there's something from the Zoom in front of it. If I mute, can y'all still, I think we'll be able to hear everything, right? Okay. All right, and playing now.
Hi everyone, I'm Ari. I use they them pronouns, and I'm presenting the update for the Pain Pals project, a video game that seeks to explore the experience of chronic pain in a destigmatized and non-medical setting. So far, we have met with Carmen to set up a game plan, practiced screen reader compatibility for menus, drafted gameplay concepts and made aesthetic decisions, and scheduled mentorship opportunities. First, we met with Carmen. Actually, we have an ongoing meeting with Carmen every 2 weeks, which has made our goals very dynamic this semester as we tailor them to his needs. During our first and second meeting, the team raised concerns that we had about gameplay and aesthetic decisions right off the bat, and we decided as a group to focus a lot of our efforts on game mechanics. Additionally, Simon provided a lot of our bi-weekly prompts. Last meeting, we all came in with one idea that we envisioned for Pain Pals as a project. Another one of Carmen's goals was to set up a meeting with Team Ethnography, which is currently scheduled for April 8th. And another goal he had was to bounce technical ideas with Oliver, who is great at chipping in with information on feasibility, implementation concerns, and much more. Based on Carmen's needs, the goals that we ended up achieving are, first, a mock-up of screen reader compatible character assembly, second, gameplay concepts and aesthetic decisions, third, scheduling mentorship opportunities and doing research. The reason that we decided to practice screen reader compatibility for menus is because a lot of game engines do not integrate screen reader compatibility, and Carmen uses a screen reader. In line with the lab's values, accessibility should be integrated at every step of our development process and not as an afterthought. This is an example of the results.
quick audio description. It's looks like two sock puppets, one with a crown, the other with a hat, and reads stage credits, play hands.
Stage hand. Start button. Accessibility enabled. Start button. Use a blue sock. Use a pink sock. Use a gray sock. Use a brown sock. Use a peach sock. Socks tab. Hats tab. Cat ears. Beret. Headphones. Cat ears. Gold crown. Dinosaur spines. Socks tab. Hats tab. Eyes tab. Socks tab. Give puppet button eyes. Give puppet closed eyes. Give puppet angry eyes. Give puppet googly eyes. Give puppet single dot eyes. Give puppet googly eyes. Give socks tab. Hats tab. Eyes tab. Mouth tab. Give puppet cat whiskers. Give puppet a mustache that covers their mouth. Make puppet stick tongue out. Make puppet frown. Make puppet smile. Make puppet frown. Make puppet stick tongue out. Give puppet a mustache that covers their mouth. Give puppet cat whisker. Give puppet a mustache that covers. Give puppet cat whiskers. Socks tab. Use a peach sock. Use a brown sock. Use a gray sock. Use a pink sock. Use a gray sock. Use a brown. Use a peach sock. Hats tab. Eyes tab. Hats tab. Socks tab. Dinosaur spines. Gold crown. Cat ears. Gold crown. Cat ears. Beret. Headphones. Beret. Cat ears.
Some lessons that we learned from this implementation are that menu layout is important. In a lot of video games, menu designs are not intuitive based on keyboard navigation and are really dependent on visual cues. In this game, a fundamental flaw was having to use the up arrow to revisit character customization when you switch to a new tab. Additionally, it's important to have a good, human-readable system for naming assets. This applies to most game dev anyways, but having a system for naming assets enables you to go back and edit much more easily. Making sure asset names are human-readable rather than computer-generated makes it easier to implement things such as screen reader compatibility. With computer-generated asset naming, you can expect to see a lot of SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3, whereas a human-readable asset would be read as white sock with red stripe and blue stripe, light pink sock, light blue sock. So we've done the screen reader compatibility for menus, we've learned a lot of lessons. Now we're moving on to drafting gameplay concepts and making aesthetic decisions. We have discussed as a team at length the gameplay for this project. This game, as we are currently envisioning it, is shaping up to be a very social experience. Consequently, we wanted to think about intimacy and boundaries in an online space. One gameplay concept which we discussed was the opportunity to unlock more of a friend's profile as you engage with them through the game. As you play mini games together, you're also invited to learn more about the other person. In this way, sharing your personal experience, and because we will be shaping the profiles around experiences with chronic pain, this extends into sharing very stigmatized experiences outside of a medical environment. Sharing your personal experience becomes a way of bonding, a way of enriching your experience beyond what is available in a medical environment. One way in which we seek to express experiences of pain is a pain scale, which we will be discussing with Simon today. We are still making considerations about what type of pain scale, for instance, an emotional pain scale or a noise-backed pain scale, and what the limitations of pain scales are. Sensations of pain can be fundamentally different and cannot be so easily summarized with the scale. And additionally, we have to consider whether this is too proximate to a medical tool and how the community will experience pain scales on our platform. If this feels like revisiting medical trauma, for instance, rather than exploring their bodily experience, we may reconsider this feature. A representation of pain and intimacy, which Abigail proposed, was at a high level of intimacy, like, friendship level 10, offering the option to consent to a sharing of your bodily experience with another player. In this interaction, the other player would have the ability to explore a recreation of your body that features visual, audio, and possible haptic feedback about what your body feels like in a given spot. For instance, if you have a burning pain in your right wrist, this may be visualized with a throbbing red glow or fire-like tendrils. It may sound like hissing or wincing. It may feel creaky and jolty when you move across it, or it may feel like it comes in waves. This would be an incredibly intimate experience and would require the consent of both parties, but it would also be a very new experience to the game design world. We also mentioned Easter eggs briefly in the last meeting, and Carmen discussed with us the idea of providing players the opportunity to create in-game Easter eggs of visual descriptions that players can find throughout the game. So these type of Easter eggs have been done not in visual descriptions before, but people can leave little tidbits for other players throughout different games. I think one that's really common right now is Elden Ring has the option to leave messages for other players throughout the world, and that, players find that really fun. But Carmen specifically bringing up the idea of using visual descriptions is bringing a new element to this, and it kind of sets the stage for a web of interconnectedness directly tied to supporting other people's access needs. Additionally, we have been discussing aesthetics. We discussed coziness and video games at length, and of course, we talked about the accessibility of Animal Crossing. Ultimately, we decided on a top-down, three-dimensional world with only flat ground, so not raised ground, because raised ground and being able to go under things tends to be inaccessible for non-visual players. And in addition, we have leaned towards pixel art as an aesthetic because Carmen has expressed a preference towards it. A pixel art shader is going to require a lot of effort, and we are definitely going to have to consult a mentor on graphics programming. And we also want a high contrast game to make the game more accessible, but we also want to be wary of overstimulating our players. And in the context of making sure people aren't overstimulated, one accessibility feature recommended to me by a personal game dev mentor was to make sure that not only are there audio cues available for every single interaction, but to make sure that we pitch shift audio cues so we prevent exhausting players with repeated audio. Repeating the exact same sound will result in players tuning out our audio, or it can just be frustrating. We want neither of those experiences. We want to make sure that the audio is serving a function and adding to the experience rather than detracting. Additionally, we want this game to be very low stress in the way that it's experienced overall. One proposed mini-game that we are envisioning is a mini-game in which you align with your friend in some way on the mini-game screen, and when there is an overlap of your characters or the indicator that we're using, then it triggers haptic feedback, satisfying audio, or a satisfying visual, affirming that this connection was made, and it sort of serves as a no-contact high five or hug. Okay, so that's a summary of our progress on gameplay concepts and aesthetic decisions. Now onto our progress seeking out mentorship opportunities and our research. In short, finding accessibility-specific game development mentorship has been difficult. It has been a long road of rejections or just ignoring us, and we're still searching. But Carmen did secure a mentorship opportunity with Blackbird Interactive. Oliver, Simon, Carmen, and I, along with Carmen's assistant, Ada, will be meeting with them on April 7th. Blackbird Interactive specializes in 3D games, including Minecraft Earth. We will primarily be discussing with them audio environments, as this is one of the most important accessibility features, but we'll probably be asking many more questions. Additionally, I do have a personal game development mentor, Alyssa, who has been in the game development industry for years. And she regularly gives me feedback on features we plan on implementing. In terms of research, Oliver and I spent the week of spring break attending the Game Developers Conference, which I may offhandedly refer to as GDC. We spent the week gathering information about accessibility features that, let's be honest, are often overlooked by AAA developers. We found a few gems. The first of which is Sonantic, an emotional text-to-speech software. If you provide a tone indicator, it will incorporate that emotion into the AI's response. While it is imperfect, for example, it does have a delay longer than the average text-to-speech software that may impede users communicating in real time, we liked that if used in a social chat feature, it would encourage the use of tone indicators, which can sometimes be stigmatized in online spaces. Another feature we found was Modulate, an AI moderation tool. If you've ever been in an online chat room in a video game, you probably understand why that's a necessary consideration. While this would be an imperfect solution, if we want to provide a welcoming space, and we do, we want to consider the role moderation will play in preventing harassment and discrimination. The next feature we found is honestly the one that I'm most excited for. It has not officially come out yet, but we got to try it at the first public release. Amtix uses a PlayStation controller to revisit haptics more fully. A lot of games use haptics to convey very, very simple messages, like, oh, you're shooting a gun now, buzz. But Amtix considers the ways that haptics can be integrated into the gaming experience more fully. There were textural changes to your steps when you stepped on rock versus grass. You could feel the engine of a car revving up. And interestingly, you could feel a directional pulling indicating that you should be moving forward, backwards, left, right. While it hasn't been fully released yet, I found the demo very enjoyable, and when made public, I will definitely be looking into whether it would be feasible to incorporate into our demo. One thing I want to mention that is GDC related, but is less mentorship or research related, is that in our networking at GDC, we did meet a lot of interesting people, one of which was Lawrence Mien, the Director of Partner Experience and the Head of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Xsolla, who initially walked over to us with the intention of telling us that we couldn't sit at his booth without an appointment, which Oliver quickly won him over with his fantastic charms, and we ended up chatting with him for a while. He was very interested in our project, being the head of DEI, and he offered us support in case we're ever interested in pitching our game for further development after we have created a demo. So those were our major updates. As for the rest of the semester, our first order of business is to continue responding to prompts. This is one of the most direct ways for us to address Carmen's needs. We also still have upcoming meetings with mentors that have more experience with the game development industry. We will hopefully be creating art samples, but again, a pixel art shader will be difficult to develop using 3D art. Additionally, we will be meeting with Team Ethnography to further develop our profile questions and survey questions. Our ultimate goal for this semester is an official design document. Included in the design document will be information for recruiting and seeking out technical partners who can implement this creation and build a demo. We want to work with game developers who hold similar values and need to have interview questions ready to sort out developers who may not share a vision with us. We want to have explicit expectations for gameplay and aesthetics going forward. If anyone has suggestions about how to find a mentor that is accessibility specific or would like to share experiences of virtual intimacy that you either liked or did not like, this would be beneficial to us as a team. Additionally, if you have any questions for us, please share them with us. Thank you so much.
Okay, that was pretty cool. Abigail, I know you had some stuff, you and Oliver, I believe.
Sure, yeah. I'm just gonna share my screen, hopefully without the Zoom stuff getting in the way. Oh, can I get permission to share screen real quick?
Yep, just made you co-host.
Gotcha, thank you. Mhm. Okay. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna hide the UI a bit. I don't know why Zoom is lagging. Sorry, I think Zoom is lagging. So let me try that again.
Yeah, no worries.
Awesome. So these are just some quick concept art and ideas that we were thinking about after getting inspiration from. Oh, can everyone see the screen all right? All right. So let me know if you can't see anything or if the UI is in the way. But these are just some quick things we got from Carmen and his inspirations from his video games that he used to play as a child or as a teenager growing up. Some of the things were Earthbound, so Earthbound and Final Fantasy, things like that. Since we're trying to incorporate it as a top-down sort of virtual hub space, we are looking at the pixel art way of rendering things so that it looks simple, but also has a certain charm to it. And here's a quick description under throwing a Pokeball. So this is going to be a part of sort of what we call the Paint Pal profile pictures or passes. And here's a picture of Carmen, his overworld avatar. So as you're navigating the overworld perspective, this is sort of a side view of what maybe some of these avatars might look like. And if I read out the caption, he's in a fighting stance wearing a red hero tunic and brandishing a blue flame shield with his left arm. His right hand is holding his white cane ready for battle. And we also want to incorporate it as not just a realistic world, but also a game world. So you're free to play around with your own assets and maybe make your own assets, hopefully, if we get very far into it. But this is also his overworld avatar, but instead of brandishing his white cane, he instead has a sword. And on the topic of trying to think about pain and pain scales and pain spectrums, as opposed to medicalizing pain, we kind of want to think about pain as pain narratives and pain stories by having the option for players to travel along what Ari and I brainstormed as sort of this embodied experience. So maybe thinking of pain as sound, color, taste, texture, wavy hot air, or patterns of silence. So we can incorporate this through various sort of sensory experiences when you're navigating someone's avatar. And maybe that's illustrating shades of pain, a certain pixel gradient or canvas that someone can reveal by clicking on a certain part of the avatar. And another thing would be just having someone record sort of a sound or just of their pain sensation. So on the right, you can see there's a color gradient of different abstract pixel art. And there's also an audio file icon or an audio spectrum line that just shows you can incorporate some sort of audio experience to designing your avatar and character. But also it's important to just actively think about how we're incorporating activities that organize and facilitate intimate relationships within the virtual hub space. So, I mean, most effectively engaging in dialogue with another person and having this connection with them beyond just physically being with someone is important, and we want to organize that kind of space in the world. But yeah, very quick and dirty pixel art, but let me know if you have any input.
Awesome. Was there anything else, Abigail or Oliver?
No, we're having a meeting with Carmen again today, so we're going to be discussing more of the pain spectrums and pain scale ideas.
Awesome. Sounds good. Okay. Up next, we have Alex, who will be giving a Slack etiquette course today. So Alex, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
All right. Can everyone see the screen properly?
Yes, it says Slack.
It says Slack. Yes, perfect. Okay, so yeah, today we're talking about Slack, specifically our Slack and how we can make it pretty. And you may be wondering what's wrong with the Slack. There's nothing wrong per se, but Slack is very text heavy, and I think that personally, at least when I'm going through it, especially if I'm looking for something, there is a lot of cognitive load. I find that, there's a lot of images and a lot of things a lot of conversations going around that it's sort of hard to sift through them and find what I'm looking for. And of course, keeping track of conversations. And I was also thinking that since we have a lot of guest speakers and a lot of people coming from outside the lab who may not be as acquainted with what's going on, it would help to keep the Slack a little more clean and to make it more inviting. So next follow-up question is, well, how do we do that, right? And I propose that we use threads more often. And well, I can talk about threads a lot, but I think it's better if I show you what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to make a new channel over here called Slack-demo. Cool. And I'm going to add my lovely assistant, Skylar, who will be helping me today. So let's say, for example, this is a thread I am in a channel. And let's say I have a question, such as, hold on, I have a message, 1 second. So let's say I have a question. Can y'all see the screen, by the way?
Yes.
All right, cool. I don't know, how do I make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? My kitchen is on fire. I need help. So, one way that is very common is, someone like, say, Skylar answers directly on the channel and maybe tagging me as well in their response, which they're doing right now. Get a new kitchen. Okay, yes. And that is very nice. However, if we keep this conversation going, like I write kitchen expensive, for example, and then we just keep this going on and on and on. The channel is going to be flooded with just this one conversation, and then trying to keep track of it, and then maybe wanting to come back to it later, like, hey, Skylar, you said I should get a new kitchen. Where should I get a new kitchen? Like, where do you buy kitchens, you know? Where are they on sale? IKEA, yes. So the solution I'm proposing that we use as a lab in general is to, whenever someone asks a question or starts a conversation, we reply in a thread. And the threads are this little speech bubble thing with 2 lines in the middle that appears when you hover your mouse over it. And mine is in Spanish, but it should say, the translation says, reply in the conversation thread. So if you click on that, it will open up the thread here, and we can just write get bread. Yes, exactly. Yes, use bread. And what else do I need to make a sandwich together? Jam. Okay, wait, it's jelly. Wait, whatever. Anyhow, that's beside the point. But the thing is, this keeps it very clean, right? This helps to keep the conversation quite compact. And then if I ever want to go back to it, if I ever feel like, oh, I forgot how to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, I can just go on this left side at the very top where it says conversation threads, and it has the same speech bubble icon next to it. You can just click on it and then go back here, and you will see this conversation displayed in all its glory in front of you. And then you just don't have to ever look again, at least in the whole, what I tend to do, which is, for example, if I go on general, I'll go up and up and up and try to find something like a meeting notes for a day. Or alternatively, using the search bar at the top, you can look for bread or something like that. But that is very slow, and sometimes it just doesn't work all that well. So threads are very useful for that. And another thing that is, can you delete these? Oh yeah, for a second. Okay. Or you can just leave that one there. Cool. And as a dynamic I propose is that if someone replies to a conversation outside of the thread, one thing we can do is gently remind them. So let's say I give my answer here, but it's not in the thread. One thing we can do is use the React button, the React feature that Slack offers, and then use the thread emoji that you can search up there. It looks like, well, a thread. What do you call the coil?
It's a spindle. Like
Spindle.
a spindle.
Thread spindle. Yes, spindle, I think it is. Red thread spindle. Yes, exactly. And you can just let them know, hey, you should probably reply in the Slack thread, and then I can just type my answer in here. And then we can keep the Slack clean that way. And then I can delete this message after I put my answer in there. And then I can start another topic. So let's say, for example, I have an opportunity internship around the Bay Area. And another thing we can do, I propose, is to give a description of longer messages like this, and then in the thread, give all the details like responsibilities, pay, responsibilities, pay, hours, location, company, all these things that would make a message look ginormous. Yes, exactly. Full description goes in the thread. And I have a cleaner version of this that I made last night in Slack-test if you ever want to look at it, just for reference. And this should help keep things quite organized. And then we can just, of course, look at the different threads. And if you're interested in the opportunity, for example, you can just send a message in here and you should be able to find it anytime in your conversation threads. And that will help you and everyone else be able to navigate it quickly. And I propose we do this for every channel because also I don't use a screen reader, but I figure that having a screen reader read out the entirety of a post before moving on to a next one, or it's just to get the idea, is quite cumbersome and it takes a lot of time. So that would also help with making it a lot better for people in general. So that's that. And let me see what I have on the Slack demo. Yeah, that's essentially it. No, it's Slack test. Yeah, the thread, that, okay, cool. And yeah, for example, if I even wanted to post the entire B-movie script as I've done here, I can still keep it within one thread and it won't flood the entirety of the channel, and we can keep everything separate and easy. We can also cite sources inside the threads, and all that messy stuff just gets compacted into this little blue line below the original message. Cool. And now that we've done the demo, I propose that we try it first. And I made a channel called meeting-chat that you can go on. And I was thinking that we could use this as an alternative to the Zoom chat, because someone mentioned last meeting that the Zoom chat feature kind of messes with screen readers. So I was thinking that this could help, one, avoid that and just keep it all within one thing. And then second, it automatically gets stored in the Slack. So it should help to document everything that's going on. So if anyone wants to post a link in here, or keep a conversation, or just say kudos to whoever's presenting, then you can just keep it all in here. So let's say, I don't know, I want to give example.com as a source I talked about, or I don't know, anything really. But yeah, I suggest that we start using the meeting, start making and using meeting threads for whenever we communicate in the meeting. Okay, so that was a lot, and I'm going to check this now. Yeah, really helpful to read how the name reclaim. No, that's not this. Great idea. Oh, no problem. Does anyone have any questions so far? And of course, you can always reach out to me. Just send me a DM if you need help with navigating around this. But I feel like we should definitely start moving in this direction of keeping things organized and separate and just easy to look at, because I tend to get a little anxious whenever I see a lot of text and I can't find what I'm looking for, or I feel like it's just been lost in the sea of comments everywhere. Any questions, comments, concerns before I step away? All right, I guess not. So, all right, cool. That's all for me ranting about Slack and threads.
Okay, thank you, Alex, for your Zoom/Slack rant. It was very helpful. I was gonna say, because I don't see that option under channels. Do we have to be invited to it? The Zoom Slack?
You have to add it in search. I can show you how to do that right now.
Okay.
You have to go, mine's in Spanish, and I tried switching it to English this morning. I just can't find the thing, but you go on this plus sign and it should say add channels in whatever your native language is.
On the phone, it'll look like there's a channels like in bold, and then you have a plus button right next to it. That'll bring up a search.
And it'll say explore the channel list. And then here, I think you can just look for meeting-chat. And you should be able to join.
Okay, I think I found it.
Mm-hmm. Fabulous. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's, for me, that's why, like, I think a lot of people are turned off by Slack a lot of times because it's not really new user friendly in comparison to something like Discord.
Mm-hmm.
I think Discord is a bit more intuitive, but I understand also why people like Slack. Like once you get the hang of it, it's not bad, but until then, it's like you got to really put in work to figure it out sometimes,
Yeah, and I don't know, I really like playing around with the apps I use. So if anyone has any questions about Slack or Notion or anything, you can always just DM me and I'll set up a meeting and we can, play around with it together. Any further questions on how to use threads or reactions or anything that I talked about today?
No, I don't think so.
Going twice, going thrice. All right, cool. Fabulous. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Next up, we have Abby with some news for the DSC. So Abby, I will yield the floor to you as well. I think I'm gonna make you a co-host in case you need to share anything.
Oops, I totally forgot about this. My mind's blanking. Is Karen here?
Karen is not.
Okay. Can we push this to next week? I totally forgot about this.
Oh, okay. Did you want to discuss the toolkit primer thing?
I didn't know that I was going this week for that.
Okay, no worries. We could push that back as well. Okay. Oh, gotta read a reply. Oh, okay. So okay, cool. So we have a order form for our t-shirts from Team Propaganda. Holly can't be here today. Holly said that she's feeling a little bit under the weather. So I'm going to put this into our Slack. I'll put it in our chat here for those of us that aren't on there, but I will also put it in our Slack meeting thing. Let me find meeting chat. There we go. Okay, so I'll put there and in our general. So if you open it up, it has you put your name, your shirt size, and they're just back to asking more questions about the shirts and the sweatshirts and stuff like that. Like, do you like it? Blah blah blah. Just really general questions. Nothing too difficult. I'm putting that also in the general case. And so yeah, just go ahead and take 5 minutes to fill this out, and then we'll come back and just take it till 1 o'clock. Fill this out, and then we'll come back to it. So it gives you like 7-8 minutes. I'm gonna fill it out myself now. Oh, and at the end of the survey, there's also a thing where if you want to, I guess, add to the music playlist that Team Prop has been making. I still haven't figured out how to do that, but good times.
Hey, I forgot one thing. Do y'all mind if I
Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
share my screen? Okay, cool. Another thing that I think would help is here. I think links are probably one of the things that make the Slack look more cluttered than they should. So, for example, if we want to, I don't know, say like, oh, collaborate on this Google Doc, we usually do like the link, we do like drive.google.com/ right? But another thing we can do is just click this little chain up on here, the link logo, and then you can input the actual link inside the text. And then what we can do then is just send this, and this will take you to the link directly. And there's no need for having really, really, really long links. It's just a best practice, and of course, it's not mandatory or anything. I'm just kind of spitballing ideas for us to make the channels look a lot prettier. Anywho, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so I think about 2 more minutes. I think we should all be done by now for this. So yeah, I don't have a lot else for y'all. Just like I said, start thinking about what you want to do for your end of semester presentations, who you might want to present to, like if you want to connect with Lighthouse Labs or something like that, or another organization, please let us know so we can try to make arrangements. Just things of that nature. And like Karen said, if you're, also for the end of semester stuff, don't forget your documentation, like what you went over this semester, what you learned from this semester, what you want the next steps to be. Start thinking about if you might be here next semester as well, or if you want to carry it over into the summer. Just think about things like that. And then also just like the direction of your project. Because it's good to really think about those things in advance. That way we can also plan for next semester as well. But yeah, that's all I have. I guess we're just going to end a little bit early. I think that's okay. It's, after spring break. How many seniors are here right now? I think we're going to end up losing quite a few people at the end of this semester, right? Yeah, Oliver, Oliver, you and Ari are seniors, right? My goodness, all seniors. Yeah, Kara's a senior. Skylar is. Oh, Skylar, by the way, congratulations for accepting Columbia. That's really cool for your MPH.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
Yes, you should be. It's awesome. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's as always, it sucks, because we're gonna be losing our seniors, but hey, y'all know if if you find yourselves out there and you're having like a hard time, either finding work or whatever, and you want to just keep adding to your CV, or you just want to continue to volunteer with the lab, you're more than welcome to continue to hang out with us and work with us. And then also right now I gotta talk with Karen, but we're working on, we've been connecting with this company, a startup that's focused on disability tech. So there might be something there, but we got to really flesh it out first before we move forward with it. So I don't want to go too much into detail, but yeah. Anyway, all right, y'all. Have a good day, night. have a good weekend. I hope everyone stays safe and be healthy. You know, just watch out because this cold or flu or whatever it is that's going around the Bay Area is really making its rounds right now. I know I pretty much like everyone's just getting it right now. So just be safe and take care. And we'll talk to y'all later. I'll be hanging around for a little while if anyone wants to stop. And I'm going to turn off the recording now.